All right, so lately you've probably been hearing the same thing over and over again. The housing market is fragile. But how fragile is it really? Because, yeah, there's definitely a lot of uncertainty right now, but fragile, that might be a little bit of a stretch. So, today I want to break down what's actually happening, both nationally a little bit, but mostly right here in the Austin area, and what agents on the ground are seeing as we head deeper into 2026. So, let's get right into it. First, a quick national snapshot. There was a recent report saying housing conditions are fragile because pending home sales are lagging. Basically, fewer people are going under contract right now, which can signal slower sales in the next couple months. Pending sales were down about 8% year over year, even though mortgage rates were actually slightly better than late last year, sitting in the low 6% range for most of February. So in theory, things should be picking up, but they're not. And that's where a lot of the concern is coming from. Now, that's national. Let's talk Austin area because real estate is always hyper local and Austin is doing its own thing right now. So what's actually happening in Austin? Here's a big picture. Inventory is higher than it has been or was the past couple of years. Buyer demand is there, but it's cautious, kind of on the sidelines. And the market is slowly shifting toward more balance. We're not in that crazy seller's market anymore, but we're also not in a full-blown buyer's market across the board. It's kind of mixed. One of the biggest things that we're watching right now is inventory. In Austin, listings have been building back up, especially compared to the ultra tight years in 21 and 22. But here's the catch. Demand isn't keeping up at the same pace. So what does that mean? More options for buyers, but not enough urgency to absorb everything hitting the market. That's the main thing that we're seeing. Some homes get multiple offers in a few days, and others just sit with little to no activity. Same city, completely different outcomes. Now, there's a lot of different reasons for this that I'll talk a little bit about later, but a big one is pricing. A lot of sellers still have that mindset that they're in 2021, 2022, and that's just not the case anymore. So then you have big price drops and homes sitting on the market for a long time. Another concept is the micro market. This is one of the most important things to understand. Austin is not one market right now. It's a collection of micro markets. For example, a well-priced home in Westlake, Bee Cave, Circle C, still competitive, still moving. But an overpriced home or a less desirable location, crickets. So if you're buying or selling, strategy matters more than ever. And that brings me to another big shift. We're seeing seller concessions come back in a huge way. Over half of deals right now are including some form of seller paid closing costs or rate buy downs. That's a huge change from the frenzy years ago. So if you're a seller, don't be surprised if buyers ask for help with closing costs or rate buy downs. It's not a lowball move. It's just what the market is right now. And if you're a buyer, you've got more negotiating power than you ever have, at least in the Austin area, and especially 3-4 years ago. Talk about something a lot of people don't want to hear. Home appreciation has normalized. We're no longer seeing those insane double-digit gains. That, unfortunately, was an anomaly. Right now, we're back to something much more realistic, 2 to 5% annually, depending on the area. So if you bought recently, we're hoping to flip in a year or two. That's going to be tough. You're probably going to be owing some money. This is back to a long-term game again. So let's talk mortgage rates. Rates are still one of the biggest factors holding buyers back. We've been hovering in the mid-6 range, and even small fluctuations are impacting affordability. And here's the reality. A lot of buyers are sitting on the sidelines still, waiting to see what happens next. Not because they can't buy, but because they're unsure and there's a lot of uncertainty. I mean, at the filming of this, there is a war going on and gas prices and inflation rates. There's so many things right now that are, people just don't like to make those big purchasing decisions with a lot of uncertainty, which is why there's so much hesitation. And that hesitation really can slow down a market like in Austin. Now, this next part is interesting. So based on agent sentiment and what people are seeing in real time, the market is slowly shifting toward buyers. But here's the kicker. Most agents still expect more transactions this year. So what does that mean? Agents are just optimistic or unrealistic? This means more movement, but more negotiation, not a crash, and definitely not a boom, just a more balanced, realistic market. And that's what we want. So is the Austin housing market fragile? No, not really. It's uncertain. Yes, it's transitioning, definitely transitioning. But what we're really seeing is a shift back to a normal market where pricing, negotiation, and strategy actually matter again. And honestly, that's much healthier long term. So if you're thinking about buying or selling in the Austin area, or just want to understand what's happening in your specific neighborhood or neighborhood that you're interested in, reach out, because right now the difference between a good deal and a bad one comes down to knowing your exact market, exact neighborhood. And I'm here to help if you need me. Hope you learned something today, and see you for that next video.